Alright, we're working on if else with B, where we need to use our conditionals. This is what our conditional loop looks like. If at flower do, and then it does the command. So that's basically saying if at flower, then you're going to do this. That's our if then conditional. So for these levels, we need to we have no idea what's underneath these clouds. And if there are flowers underneath those clouds, we're going to have to get nectar. If there's not flowers under those clouds, we don't want to do anything. So a conditional will help us with that. So if we are at a flower, we will get nectar. If not, then we won't. So for this puzzle, move forward, which will put my B right above that cloud. And if I'm at a flower, then I'm going to get nectar. If not, then I will move forward again and do the same thing. So notice I'm at 4 out of 5 blocks. So I need to make sure that I use my loop. Obviously, that's not the correct way to use my loop. You will need to use it correctly. Conditionals can also be beneficial even if I know where the flowers are, because these flowers are spread out at different amounts. There's no real pattern in those flowers. So to put the code in without a conditional, this is the best I can do, 10 blocks. But notice my workspace requires 5 blocks, and without a conditional, I can't do it in that few of blocks. So it's actually going to be code just like before, just like on level 4, but we know where those flowers are, and these conditionals are still useful. So this is what it looks like without a conditional, 10 blocks. With our conditional, it will only be 5 blocks. On level 9, we get our if-else conditional. So if at flower, then we're going to do this code. Else, we're going to do something else. So that means if it's not a flower, it's going to do the else one. So underneath the question mark, it's either going to be a flower or a honeycomb. We don't know which one. So we can make our conditional work in 2 different ways. We can say if we're at a flower, then get nectar, else make honey. Because if it's not a flower, if it is a flower, we're going to make nectar. But if it's not a flower, it's going to be a honeycomb, and we're going to make honey. We can also put in this one here, if at honeycomb, then make honey, else get nectar. Because if it is a honeycomb, we're going to make the honey. If it's not a honeycomb, it has to be a flower, and we're going to get nectar. So you can create your if-else conditional either with the flower and getting nectar, or the honeycomb and making honey, with your else being doing the opposite thing. Good luck on these levels. Some of them are pretty tough, especially your challenge ones on these ones. With the challenge ones, you have to realize we can put a conditional inside of another conditional. So, like I said, 14 and 15, they're challenging, they're super difficult. Good luck on these.